Alright, for this problem it says Dave took 3 turns in a video game. He scored a negative 120 in his first, 320 in the second, negative 80 in the third. That should be third, not thrid. Whoops! What was his average score for the 3 turns? So what we have to do is the key word here is the average. So we need to first go ahead and we need to add up all of our points. So this would be negative 120 plus 320 plus a negative 80. So we know that if we do negative 120 plus 320, that's the same since they're different signs. That is finding the difference or subtracting them. So we'll go ahead and subtract those and we'll get 200. Now the bigger absolute value is the positive number, so it will become 200 plus negative 80. So adding a negative is the same thing. Adding a negative is like subtracting. So this is basically 200 minus 80, which will become 120. Now, let's go back to the word average. That means when you add up all the values and divide by how many there are total. So in this case, we had 1, 2, 3 entries. So we are going to do 120 divided by 3. And what that will give us is 40. So the average score is 40 points. For the next one, it says a helicopter's altitude is changing at a rate, which we learned is speed, of negative 17 feet per second. Find the change in altitude of the helicopter after 4 seconds. Sorry for that typo. So that would just be negative 17 times 4. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to write it vertically. So we go ahead and we multiply. 7 and 4 makes 28. 4 and 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Since we had a negative times a positive, our sign will be negative. So negative 68 feet is the change in altitude. Or if we want to relate this, it is going, the helicopter in 4 seconds has gone down 68 feet. For the last one, it says an elevator descends or goes down 1,500 feet in 60 seconds. Find the change in height per second. So we can do this a couple ways. We can say 1,500 feet in 60 seconds. So basically what we want to know is we want to know there's some amount of feet it goes in 1 second. That's what per means. So anytime you see per second, that just means in 1 second. So let's look here. How do we go from 60 to a 1? Well, that's by dividing by 60. So if we do it to the bottom, we're going to do it to the top as well. So what I'll do now is I'll set up our long division. So we will do, I'll go over here on the right, 1,500 divided by 60. And remember, we put the top number inside because remember we talked about the wrapper TI. Top goes inside and the bottom goes on the outside. So that's why the bottom, BO, bottom goes outside. So I know it's kind of crammed in the corner here, but we'll do this division. So 60 does not go into 1. 60 does not go into 15, but 60 goes into 150 twice. That'll be 120. Subtract. We get 30 and bring down the 0. Now we want to ask ourselves, how many times does 60 go into 300? And it goes in 5 times. So 60 times 25 is 300. And that exits that out. 60 times 5 goes in 300. I'm sorry. So our answer here is 25 feet per second would be your final answer.